Welcome back to The Deep Dive, where we sift through, well, all the noise, stack up the sources, and pull out those really important nuggets of knowledge just for you. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of the tech world's cutting edge. We've got a fascinating pile of material, really from internal memos, tech reports, right through to news from, well, deep space.
It's an incredibly fast-moving landscape, isn't it? And what's really striking in these sources is seeing how quickly those frontiers are shifting and honestly merging together. We'll be looking at how the big tech players are making these huge moves around AI, what's coming down the pipe for consumer gadgets, and even some pretty surprising stuff about how automation's changing, global logistics.
Absolutely. And our mission, like always, is to give you that shortcut to being properly informed, maybe a few surprising facts, and enough context so you feel, ahead of the game. So let's get started. Okay, first up, let's talk about the absolute frenzy at the very top of the AI world. Here's something genuinely significant. Mark Zuckerberg just announced Meta's Super Intelligence Labs, MSL. This isn't just like a new department. It's a dedicated unit meant to bring together all of Meta's foundational model teams. And they've hired some, well, seriously big names. People like Alexander Wang, who's CEO of Scale AI, and Nat Friedman, the former GitHub CEO. Meta's goal. They're saying they want to reach the frontier of AI in the next year or so, push the boundaries.
Yeah, and what's fascinating about this, strategically, is the depth. For Meta, right, a company historically focused on social media, consumer apps, this aggressive push into foundational AI, it signals they want to own the underlying intelligence, not just build on it. Think of it like they don't just want to use a powerful engine. They're aiming to build the most powerful one themselves. Bringing all those foundation model teams, these are the experts building the core AI models under MSL, lets them centralize research, speed things up, break down silos. It's about owning that core AI ability. Huge for platform competition long term.
And it really seems like Meta's aggressive hiring in this whole strategy is sending ripples out already. We've seen reports, and our sources back this up, that OpenAI actually shut down for a whole week.
Yeah.
Now, the internal line was, it's a needed rest, recharge the batteries. But the whispers from inside, according to our sources, suggest it felt more like panic mode or maybe damage control.
Yeah.
This happened right after Meta reportedly poached several key employees from OpenAI and other big AI players.
That really just underscores the sheer intensity of this talent war in generative AI. It's fierce. When you're dealing with tech that's moving this fast, one brilliant mind or, one really cohesive team can make a massive difference. So for OpenAI, losing key people, especially to a direct rival like Meta, isn't just about numbers. It's potentially losing momentum, crucial knowledge, that competitive edge. It makes you wonder, honestly, how sustainable this level of competition is, even for well-funded outfits, and what other companies might do to keep their best people in this high-stakes game.
And speaking of shifting landscapes, here's another big one, Apple. They're reportedly considering using AI tech from either Anthropic or OpenAI to power a new version of Siri. Now, this is pretty major because Apple's always been so fiercely independent, very much a we build it ourselves kind of company, right? Especially with their core tech. Our sources suggest they've actually asked both companies to train up specialized versions of their models just to run on Apple's own cloud infrastructure for testing.
Oh, absolutely. This is more than just exploring options. It's a strong sign from Apple that maybe, just maybe, the pace of generative AI has outstripped even their own considerable internal efforts. Apple's whole brand is built on seamless integration, user privacy. So bringing in outside AI models, even really carefully, it's a big philosophical shift for them. It suggests they need to catch up and fast in an area where arguably they fell a bit behind in those core generative skills. The big implication, Siri could get way smarter, like moving beyond just commands to real intelligent conversations. But yeah, it raises huge questions too. Data privacy, how they keep that Apple feel with third-party tech, and what does it really mean for their long-term AI plan? Is this a stopgap or a new way of working for Apple? That's the key insight, I think.
Right. It's clear this AI influence isn't just staying in the boardroom. It's actively reshaping, well, everything around us, digital and physical. Let's dig into this fascinating new skill that's popping up. It's supposedly even more critical now than just writing a good prompt. It's called context engineering.
Yes. And what's really interesting here is that context engineering gets at a deeper truth about how these large language models actually function. It's not only about what you ask the AI, it's about feeding it all the necessary relevant info so it can plausibly solve the task. That includes your prompt, sure, but also data it might need from memory, stuff it retrieves from outside, maybe even the tools it has available. The quality of that context is everything. Our sources are saying most AI agent failures, They're not because the model is bad or the prompt is wrong, but because the context was off. It's a shift from just, telling the AI what to do to intelligently informing it.
Huh. That's a really big shift in thinking. So if context is the main thing, does prompting become less important? Or is it just one piece of a bigger puzzle? And what kind of skills do people need for this context engineering?
Prompting's definitely still important, yeah. But it's part of this bigger, more complex orchestration. Think of it like conducting an orchestra instead of just playing one instrument. The skills, well, it involves a deep understanding of how to retrieve data, how to represent knowledge, even some logical reasoning, figuring out how an AI thinks about information. So for developers, for users too, it brings up this critical point. We need to think much more carefully about the information we give our AI tools. Make sure it's not just lots of info, but precise, relevant info. It suggests really a whole new area of expertise is emerging in how we build AI.
Okay. And talking about intelligent systems in the physical world, let's talk Amazon. They're apparently getting really close to employing, get this, more robots than humans in their warehouses. They've already got over 1 million robots deployed globally. And reports say robotics now help out in something like 75% of Amazon's deliveries worldwide.
The scale of it at Amazon is it's staggering. Over 1 million robots moving things, sorting packages, optimizing storage autonomously. This isn't just a gimmick, it's core strategy. It's let them boost productivity massively and, importantly, deal with that constant issue of high staff turnover in logistics. And to manage this huge robot army, they've even built their own generative AI model called Deep Fleet. Deep Fleet isn't just following set routes. As a generative AI, it analyzes real-time data from the warehouse traffic, package flow, robot status, potential jams, and it dynamically generates the best routes and tasks for thousands of robots at once. It learns, it adapts constantly, making the whole thing more efficient. The implications for logistics and, for human jobs in those roles are huge. It completely redefines what a warehouse even is.
So what that means for you, for your experience, is that AI isn't just in your apps or powering chatbots. It's this silent, super efficient force physically moving the stuff you order, working with an intelligence way beyond simple pre-programmed commands. Okay, let's pivot now to what's coming next, the gadgets you might actually hold, and even adventures way beyond Earth. Apple, for example, they have this incredibly ambitious plan for their smart glasses and headsets. They're apparently working on 3 different Vision Series products and 4 types of smart glasses. We're looking at an upgraded Vision Pro, maybe with an M5 chip, hitting mass production Q3 2025, then a much lighter headset by Q3 2027, and a completely new design, lighter body, lower priced Vision Pro. Not until after late 2028, apparently. It's a long game.
That consistent long-term plan really shows Apple's belief that these head-mounted devices are the next big computing platform, like the Mac or the iPhone before them. Mentioning an M5 chip for the upgrade suggests a big jump in power, specifically for spatial computing tasks. That's key for making AR and VR feel even more real, more responsive. The big challenge for Apple, as that roadmap kind of hints, is making them lighter, comfier, and definitely cheaper to get everyone on board. It's a huge bet, and the timeline shows they see it as, a marathon.
It certainly is ambitious. Fascinating to see that commitment, though. And they're not alone in pushing hardware. We're also seeing interesting stuff from nothing. They just dropped their latest flagship phone and their first ever over-ear headphones. Plus, there's chatter about a new low-cost MacBook with an A18 Pro chip spotted in Apple's code.
Yeah, nothing keeps carving out its own space, doesn't it? Especially with that transparent design thing and focus on, a unique user experience. Moving into headphones alongside the phone, it signals they want to build a broader ecosystem, challenging the big guys by focusing on design, interface, maybe a bit of that counterculture vibe. And that low-cost MacBook with an A18 Pro, that's interesting. The A18 Pro is a powerful mobile chip. Putting it in a cheaper MacBook could be Apple trying to bring its custom silicon performance down market, maybe targeting schools or emerging markets where price really matters. It would offer great performance for the cost, kind of blurring the lines more between their mobile and desktop gear.
Okay, now let's look even further out, beyond gadgets, into space. Blue Origin's second launch of its huge New Glenn rocket might actually carry NASA's Escapade mission. This mission's really cool. It's a pair of small spacecraft, like microwave-sized, heading to Mars to study its magnetosphere. The launch could be as early as August 15th, but probably more like late October, maybe November. They wouldn't get to Mars until 2027, though.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of that growing partnership between private space firms and government agencies like NASA. NASA's using Blue Origin's heavy lift rocket to get this important science mission launched. Escapade itself is trying to figure out how Mars lost its atmosphere, which is, key to understanding if it was ever habitable. Studying the magnetosphere, that magnetic bubble around a planet, is critical for that. And what's also telling from our sources is that this Mars mission was originally supposed to be on New Glenn's first flight, but got moved due to launch timing issues. That just highlights the incredible precision needed for these interplanetary trips. You can't just launch whenever. The planets have to be aligned, literally.
It really does emphasize the scale and the exactness needed for space exploration. And hey, for those of you who love space but maybe aren't building rockets, here's something really accessible. Netflix is now offering live streams of NASA rocket launches, astronaut spacewalks, even those amazing views of Earth from space.
That's fantastic, isn't it? A real full circle moment, blending entertainment with actual cutting-edge science. Netflix is tapping into that huge public interest in space, making it super easy for their subscribers to watch. It's not just a documentary, you're seeing history happen live. It lowers the barrier massively for space fans and, crucially, introduces millions of new people to the excitement of space exploration. Could inspire the next generation, you know? Smart move, using their platform for something genuinely educational and, well, awe-inspiring.
So from wearables that could totally change how we interact with information, to massive robot fleets reshaping global trade, and even missions heading off to Mars, the future of tech isn't just coming, it's already here in these really interesting dynamic stages. Wow, what an incredible deep dive today. We've really covered some ground, from those intense corporate fights over AI talent and that subtle but crucial skill of context engineering. Amazon's warehouses filling up with robots, Apple's long game with spatial computing, all the way to Mars missions and, well, space on Netflix.
It really does highlight how quickly all these different bits of technology aren't just moving forward on their own, but they're connecting, converging in really unexpected ways. Which, brings up an important question for you, our listener. Given this incredible speed, especially with AI, and how everything's becoming so interconnected, from your email to how your packages show up, what do you think is the most significant shift, maybe even a subtle one, happening right now that's going to truly reshape your digital life, your daily routine, or maybe just your idea of what's possible really soon, something we perhaps only scratched the surface of today?
That's a fantastic thought to leave you all with. We really hope this deep dive has given you plenty to chew on and, that shortcut to feeling informed about what's happening at the very edge of tech. Until next time, keep exploring.